Hi, I'm Dominianne. I'm going to take you through a little self-assessment routine that can help you notice imbalances or tendencies in your body. And it's also a lovely little grounding warm-up. So whether you use it for self-assessment or just to move your body to prepare it for everything else in the day, let's dive in. Along the way, I may be giving you some cues about what to look for and maybe what to do if you see something. You can take those under advisement and disregard if you wish. We're just going to get started. So I'd like you to stare straight ahead and keep your eyes fixed ahead. And then bring your feet to a parallel position underneath your hips. Spread the soles of your feet out. Don't look down. Bend and straighten your knees a couple of times to make sure you feel comfortable. And then stand up and take a breath. Now look down at your feet and notice if they are in fact parallel or if one or both of them is facing a little turned out or a little turned in. Are their soles flat or are you rolling the weight to the inside or the outside edge? We usually don't notice when we have a shift in our weight and we tend to assume that's straight. It's not until we actually check that we know. So now what I'd like you to do is just look at your feet, move them to parallel, bend your knees, attract your knees over your toes, and then stand up and take a breath and see if now you feel more symmetrical, more parallel, or whether it feels like you're more twisted. And just let yourself learn from that. There is nothing wrong with having an asymmetrical body. In fact, it's how we function. We tend to rest backwards, standing on our non-dominant side. So the side that's dominant can do all the cool stuff. And then in the end, we wind up with that hip kind of turned out, the leg kind of turned out, and that's what functions for us. But when it becomes a problem, or when we're unaware of it, when that tendency grows, then it can become an issue. So that's why it's important to take note. We're going to move back into that parallel position. Inhale and see if you can space up through your spine as you breathe in. And then exhale, roll down from your head, try to segment each vertebrae and stop when your body says it wants to go no further. If you want to rest your hands on your shins or your knees, you can. If you can touch the floor, great. I just like you to nod your head a couple of times. And then bend and straighten your knees twice. Noticing how far you can go comfortably. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground, but I do want you to notice if you feel impingement on a hip or a knee. Notice what stops you. Right? Those are the places where maybe we want to pay a little more attention. And then alternate knee bends 4 times, straightening the right leg, leaning into that hip and the hamstring. Noticing where you feel those stretches, then change, and change, and change. Bend your knees slightly, roll all the way up, and this time, take your chest up, and then slide your hands up an imaginary wall if they had wings. Yawn a little bit and stretch side to side. Grabbing one arm, then the other. Noticing how eager your waist is to bend on either side. Bend your knees round in the center and then stretch all the way up. Squeeze your butt, lift your chest up. Can you drop your head back? And then look at your chin to stand up. Inhale. And exhale, roll down from the fingertips, the arms, and then segment your spine all the way down. Notice if you're shifting weight to get down or if the knee bends. And if that happens, put your hands around your hamstrings and just gently massage your hamstrings into your hands, wherever you feel like your legs are a little afraid to take the weight or take the stretch. Once you're down, connect with your shins, your knees, your feet, or the floor. Bend and straighten. And there's one more knee bend each side. We're going to walk our feet back to a downward dog position. And repeat the single knee bends here, but let your hips twist. So bring your right knee into your body and stretch out the left side of your body. And then change, twisting the heels to the left, stretch the right side of your body. And repeat. And then come down to all fours. Shake out your hands if you need to. Then we'll put them back down on the ground. And we're going to do a segmented cat-cow, looking in all the way down to round our spine, and then look out all the way up to extend our spine. So in both directions, we're going to lead from the head. It's a coordination thing. Pull your tail away from your head to start. Then let's begin bringing the chin to the throat. Imagine those top vertebrae moving up like stegosaurus spines. All the way through the neck. Bring the ribs to the scapula, the navel up, and then tuck the tail. And then look forward. Bring your throat forward. Bring the chest forward. Bring the navel forward, lift the tail up. Same thing now from the back, around the tail. Go from the bottom to the top, rounding. And then from the bottom to the top, extending. One rib cage circle in each direction. Notice if your neck feels creaky, if your stomach needs to get stretched out, what's talking to you right now. And if you have the luxury of time, repeat this a few more times, really kind of wiggling in and exploring the places that begin to talk to you. The most important thing is that you communicate with your body, which involves listening to what it says and then responding. We tend to dictate our exercise routine, and that doesn't help for actually addressing internal problems. So that's primarily the focus of what we're doing. From here, let's just push to a child's pose, and then unfold to a cobra. Your hips don't have to touch the ground, but see what it is to pull your chest through your body. And repeat that. Try to send your pubic bone down to the ground as opposed to your navel, squeezing your tush. And now we're just going to roll to one side and bend our knees. We'll do a couple of knee wipers. So find the floor with your back. Take a breath. Notice if you can fill the space up evenly through your back while you're lying here. And then we'll just rock both knees to one side and the other, doing this about 8 times. Noticing the moment when the knees hit their end range with the hips on the ground, then where the hips choose to follow the knees. And are you able to resist that by keeping your ribs down? So we are trying to anchor the upper part of our spine, the thoracic spine, and rotate the lumbar spine, the pelvis, and the femurs. And if you find one knee is a lot creakier, or one hip is a lot creakier than the other, see if you can just rotate that leg in and out and experiment with how much you bend or straighten your knee. We have different access to the hip joint at different degrees of bend. So that's why this is helpful. Do the same on the other side. And then bring both legs up. Shake them out until you feel like your hips are following your feet. And I want you to notice if one foot shakes much more easily than the other. Then just shake one leg and just shake the other leg. Straighten your legs and make some symmetrical circles with your feet. Paying more attention to any of the parts that feel like you're ripping duct tape off the inside of your skin, or when your circle resembles an amoeba or a D. Scrunch your toes up and then point and flex the whole foot. And now bend both knees and bring your feet to the floor. We're going to look at hip patterns next and last. So you can clasp your hands to lift your head for a second. I'd like you to just press into your feet and lift your hips up and see if they look even. If one is higher up from the other, just notice that. And then bring the hips down. And when you bring them down, see if both sides find the floor at the same time. And do a couple more simple bridges there, just raising the hips up and down. And then we're going to lift the right hip first, then the left hip, then bring the right hip down and the left hip down. Repeat that. And this is going to show you hamstring strength and also pelvis tendencies. Change direction. So as I lift my left hip, I'm pushing down on my left leg. I'm activating the posterior chain to lift that side more. My lumbar spine is rotated. I add the strength on the right leg, and I see if my body knows how to recruit strength evenly. I drop the left down, asymmetry, and down. One last time. And then rest for a moment. You can just rock back and forth on your heels. If you found a lot of imbalances or asymmetries in that last bridge exercise, I recommend that you experiment with an exercise called the pelvic clock, which is basically lying on your back and imagining you have a clock face over your abdomen with the 12 at the navel and the 6 at the pubic bone. And then simply rocking back and forth in between 6 and 12, 3 and 9, 11 and 5, etc., to help your body begin to propriocept the balance of the pelvis. If you want, you can continue with that. If not, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.